Sorry, okay, I'll stop messing around with that. Alright. So hello. So my goal today is two things, primarily. Two things. Number one is going to be that I'm gonna do some more coding stuff. In the past, I know that we worked a lot on the ribbon control that I'm working on, which I will show you that more in a bit. I think today is mostly going to focus on trying to do some bug fixing and polishing, because there are some bugs that need fixing and some polishing that needs to be polished. The other thing I'm going to do probably a bit after that is I'm probably going to move back over to playing some game for a little bit. I don't know. We'll see how it feels. I've figured out that when it comes to doing my streams, doing the coding streams, I like them because it gives me a thing to do that I'm not focused. It gives me a thing to do that I'm good at and that I think would be a better streaming experience than me just kind of putzing around in a game. But at the same time, me playing in a game allows me to talk about other random things other than just whatever is going on in front of me on the screen. Although I think that was the same issue why I said I wasn't gonna do like gameplay anymore. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Feel like just trying out things today. Anyway, I'm just gonna minimize this. Okay. Alright. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to finish off with what I was actually working on a little bit earlier. And then we'll actually get into working on the ribbon. For my previous coding stream, you may recognize that I was working on this bad boy here. I don't know why I called it that. The transform edit dialog. I had apparently done a bit more work on it since then that I did not post online, so now I'm going to do that now. Because I'll need to post that work online before I can start transferring over to start working on the ribbon. For reasons that I don't feel like getting into at the moment. But I'll get to maybe a bit later. These can be used to add in transform. Display. Okay. There's that. Start work on transform editor. These will be the actual controls that users can use for editing transforms of objects in the property list control. So far, there's still a lot more to do. Okay. Yeah, when it comes to the transform edit control, there's going to be a lot more that I'm going to have to kind of think about and do. I know I would say that I'm probably about maybe halfway done, maybe a bit under halfway with that, and that's including all the stuff that you saw on the stream last time, which was however many months ago now, plus the work I had done prior to that stream, plus the little bit of work I had done after that stream, which frankly wasn't that much work. Anyway, that is what this thing is. Now I'm gonna go into the ribbon. And noises are gonna go off apparently. What file? Oh, because yeah. Alright. That's fair. That being said, let me take a look at nope. So 1.9.6. What I'm actually gonna do, so what I was kind of getting into, the reason why I had to save all my work on the previous thing, save and upload my previous work on the transform edit dialog before I could start working on the ribbon, is because I've actually have two branches in my code. One branch is where I've done the work on the transform edit dialog, and one branch is where I'm actually doing the work on the ribbon. It might not make... For me, as an individual single person, it probably isn't as necessary to use multiple branches. In the past, I've used branches more for backporting fixes to older versions of programs. But generally, branches are more meant for things like this, working on a feature on your own little section, a little bit of code, and you separated from everything else that's going on, and then once your little bit of code is done and ready, then you merge the branch back into the big main one. However, I mostly do most of my work on the main branch without any diverging off or merging back in or things like that. The ribbon is the biggest example of not that. So I'm actually going to actually do this right now so that the ribbon now takes in all of the features that I had just made on the main branch. I'm going to refresh this. So yeah, now we're going to be working on putting these two back together. So you can see here, down here, this little section is where I've done all my previous work on the ribbon in the past. Most of this on previous streams. I think minus a few minor things, most of it was just on previous streams. This is the stuff that we've done with the transform edit dialog and some other random things that isn't as necessary. That isn't as relevant to either of those things. But now I'm going to merge these together so that all the stuff that I've done in the transform edit dialog and some other stuff is now also present with the ribbon thing. And that way, I don't have two separate diverging things going on with that. However, this is still... What I've done now is pull in all the changes I made on made and put it into the ribbon branch. The ribbon branch is still its own separate thing, its own separate bit of code that I'm still doing my own thing on. But at least now I have all the other big changes, not big, but all the other changes I'd made on the main since then, and I've pulled it back into here. Eventually, I'm gonna go the other way around, where all the stuff on the ribbon branch is gonna be put back into my main one. Because once it's all back in the main one, that means it's all here, and everybody gets to see it. But that's not here now. Instead, let's focus on where I left off with the ribbon. And in fact, let's specifically figure out where I did leave off with the ribbon. And also, excuse me for a moment while I also eat a sandwich. Oh boy. Okay. I should have tested trying to build my thing before. What? Oh, okay. I know why. Alright. Build. Okay. So now this should be able to work. Now I'm gonna take another bite of my sandwich. Hello, sorry, I just noticed you chatted. You know what, I am gonna move this over here so that I have a better... Goodness. But anyway, yes, hello. You did catch one of my streams. Sorry, one moment, I'm having difficulties with... Okay, I figured out why. There we go. Sorry, hopefully you didn't wait too long before I actually responded back to you. Ah, boy. I was so focused on what I was doing on the screen that I didn't even look at the chat at all. Okay. Anyway, yes, hello. How are you doing? Okay. So here we have the ribbon. And this is where we left things off. I think I'd done a little bit of work since my previous stream working on the ribbon, but this is about where we'd left things off. So as you can see, there is the actual ribbon here, the menus, the little menus, the tabs, the items in the tabs, things like that. That part is working. What you can see is clearly a problem is I'm gonna try to click on this to open up the next tab. But instead what happens is both tabs go away, and I click on next again, and now next opens up. Then I'm gonna try to go back to the home tab, I click on this, both tabs go away again, now home comes back up. There's also some weird visual things, as you can see this is kind of colored a bit weird, and this doesn't exactly match up. You know, there are some coloring things that need to be fixed, but that can be done later. Right now, the big deal is I need to figure out what's going on with why the tabs disappear before they actually activate, and what can I do about that. Anyway, I've been doing good, went to KitsuneCon this summer. That's nice. I actually didn't go to KitsuneCon this summer. But I hope you had a good time. I heard from other people that it was an okay time this year. So, I don't know. Hopefully it was good for you. Don't know what all was there that could have been missed. Okay. Excuse me, let me get a drink here. Okay. It was okay. I'm not as like happy about cons as I was like back in college. I still like enjoy going to cons, but I feel like I don't get the same experience as I used to, or maybe I don't know what I'm really looking out of a con anymore, I'll be honest. I think that might be kind of my issue, is I'm not sure what I'm looking out of one, and I'm not sure what one can give me at this point. But it's awesome you got another autograph. Autographs are pretty cool. I don't really have many autographs from people. I have this one that was actually given to me. I did not actually get this autograph. It was somebody from Anime Club that actually gave it to me, and it was actually a really nice gift, and I'm really appreciative of it. But yeah, that's always cool. I mean, that is a cool thing, is that you get to actually see like the voice actors or the people, producers, things like that. Usually more often people on the English side than it is the Japanese side. But still, it is pretty awesome. But yeah, it was probably you. Maybe. Depends, I don't know. Okay. Yeah, I mean, that is at least one cool thing about conventions, that if you're there, like, if you want to go see autographs, you want to see the people who are in the business, things like that, that is a really cool thing that conventions can do. I wonder if maybe it's just the panels. I wish if there was more, I don't want to say interesting panels, but, like, other panels beyond just, I don't know. Because the last con I went to was Anime Milwaukee earlier in the year, and I don't know. Some panels were interesting to me, but some other weren't. But also, I think I'm also just growing into an adult and can't stay up and get around and do things as much as I used to. But yeah. But no. Yeah, but I didn't go to KitsuneCon this year. I had different plans that I was going to do, but then unfortunately I got canceled at the last moment, so I'm just like, well, I guess I'm just gonna stay home this weekend. Yeah. I'm gonna be going to Anime Milwaukee again next year. Apparently it's happening in March rather than February next year. I don't know what panels, well, I mean, of course, no one knows what panels they're gonna have. They're probably didn't even open submissions yet. But I don't know. Maybe that should be my goal for next year, is to actually try to get to a couple more panels. Yeah, in March. I don't really know why they changed it, but I'm gonna be honest, it's not a bad thing for me. Okay. Alright. So let's see. So this is the code here that actually handles the changing of tabs here. But it is not. Let's see what I have going on in here right now. I'm gonna also change something else here. Let's see where this opens. Okay. I'm thinking I'm gonna, because right now I still have music being played through on my Windows XP computer. I think I'm gonna change that and actually use the native thing. Just give me a few moments here. I am a professional. That's not what I'm looking for. I am not a professional. That is actually the thing here, is that I am not a professional. But given that I've done so many streams now, like, I should kind of know what I'm doing. Oops, this way. Also, okay. Okay, a few more things here. Boop. Full stream display. There we go. I forgot to make this change. Now you can actually see chats on the side and everything else. I need to update that. That image is not really a relevant image anymore. Back to the ribbon. Maybe some games later. Yes, ribbon today. First stream in a while, huh? I don't know. Anyway. But yeah. I don't know. I guess I don't really know what I'm gonna be looking for out of Anime Milwaukee next year. But I hope it'll be a fun time. I'm sure it probably will be a fun time. I hope it'll be something... I think I need to just try to do something different next year than I did last year. To try to prove to myself or show to myself what I can actually do with conventions. Took a long time to think of that word. Why is a home tab not showing? Boop. Okay, so it's trying to load the home tab. And we have select tab, TDI request select. This is another thing that I need to keep an eye on. Where is this in? Oh, it's also in the ribbon thing. Okay. Why is this? Nullability of reference type and type parameter sender of request select doesn't match the target delegate. Oh. Oh. That shouldn't matter at the moment. I can fix that later. Anyway, so we're clicking. So now it's trying to select this tab. So we do have this tab. Selected tab. Okay, and then what's going on in this section is I'm going through all the tabs in the ribbon and marking them as being selected or not selected. Where is the section where I'm actually loading in elements from the tab, though? That's what I want to know. Also, this might be a part here that might be relevant. Okay. That is a nice thing, yeah, so you get to see people from other, like, back then, some people you don't get to see very often, many times. This is that same tab. So now we're looking at... Okay. Why is this code running twice? That's what I want to know. Maybe he's expecting it though. But I'm just not as social as a person. I don't know. I should interact with more people while I'm there. The most I really just want to do though is just hang out with my friends, and maybe that's not the best thing. That's why I didn't go to any more conventions this year, or not going to any more conventions this year, is because if I want to hang out with friends, I can do that at home. but maybe I need to view them in a different way. The reason what I'm making the ribbon for here, well, I'll show you in a moment. I clicked on a thing. Okay, so that is running. Is that happening? That is happening. Why is that happening? Oh. Let's end this. Boop. Small typo. Let's see what that does. Maybe that'll change things. Oh, wait. I see. Okay, no, I know what I need to do here now. I'm gonna, well, before I close this, let me show you the type of things. So, this library that I have here is called my Solid Shine UI library. I don't know if this, oh, nice. Which is just a collection of just various controls that I've made over the years, like things for me to use in my programs or things for other people to use in their programs. Boop, 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 boop. Things like all of this stuff and whatnot. And so there isn't, so when it comes to the ribbon, I'm also making my own ribbon so that I can use it in my programs too, and that ideally other people would also use in their programs. But all of these things are things that I've just made myself for me to use primarily. And this will just be another thing, another tool in the toolbox, as it were. I do have programs in mind that I want to use the ribbon for that I'm making here. And I know that there's already existing ribbon controls out there. Existing control, like other people who have made ribbon controls. But I just want to make my own, because I want to kind of go in my own direction with it, and also I want to incorporate the other stuff that I've done as a part of it too. Change that back. Yeah, kind of. Basically, yeah, a little catalog of tools, little UI things that I can use. And it has been, so it started off with only a couple things when I was working on one program, but I kept adding on stuff and changing things and adding on more things. So now when I basically start with, when I basically start with any new program now that I'm working on, I already have a whole collection of UI elements that I can just easily pull in. So yeah, it does pretty much like that. Yeah. And so some of the things that I find nice about my stuff, I'm going to just kind of toot my own horn for a little bit here. Some of the things I do find nice about this is the fact that I have full theming support, so you can do like dark themes, and you can do any other color that you want. Let's make it yellow. That's kind of yellow. And then everything else in here will just kind of react to that and be that color, and it just kind of automatically works. These don't pay attention, but like all this stuff is the same color, all this stuff down here, all these are more or less the same color. And some of these things just have like interesting features that I put in here, like I can type in 2 + 5 and it is 7 and stuff like that. Yeah, so I like the fact that I can just set a color and have it be a consistent theme for the whole thing. And I just try to add on features that I myself want to use. Like this is a proper tab control that is more meant for like multiple tabs, like in a web browser type of thing. And so you can do things like setting icons and change the text and things like that. Yeah. I don't know. And some of these things are things that don't exist already in the UI system that I use called WPF. For example, all of these spinners are built from the ground up. I used somebody else's work to get this start, but then I went in pretty much my own direction here. Oops. 4 and 6 and hey, I don't know. But a lot of this is built from the ground up by myself. Like this thing I made by myself, this thing I made by myself, these things. And it is also just kind of nice in a way, like having your own thing, you know what it is and how it works and what its like weird quirks are and things like that. And yeah. But I am also trying to make this usable for other people too, so that if other people want to use these, they can, and they can apply their own custom theming or have their own thing and things like that. But yeah, so that's kind of the long and short of that, and I had worked on it over the past handful of years. So yeah, I don't know. Big dive into that. But yeah, I don't know. It's a big thing I'm really proud of, and it's also helped me out a lot because now I'm able to use it in my own programs. Like this is a media player that I've made, and other things. What? My other, like, all kinds of my programs just have a big basis now, like a basis that I can just build on top of. And it works. It looks nice, thank you. I try for it to at least look decent. Although, of course, you can absolutely make it a completely terrible color if you want. So I'm going to set this to just that orange. Bam. And then if I do then although to an extent a lot of this still kind of works well enough, but yeah, this section up here you can't even read this at all. So there's still ways if you mess with it to make it a little bit silly. But either way. Yeah. Okay. Internal index set. So I need to go into here. Okay. What I actually need to do is I need to figure out where... Okay, this section here. Oop. Yeah. But like, yeah. I mean, with any program, if you mess with it enough, you can make it look completely ugly. I'm actually gonna rename this to... It's already one, so I'm just gonna call it 2, I guess. What is, So no, actually, you know what? I need to sit here and think about this. Why is this being called, and why is it being set to -1? Let's think about this a bit more logically. Let's take a step back here. So what's supposed to happen, because what I believe is happening, is that section is getting changed. That's music. Okay. I'm gonna open up Windows XP again for a moment here. Okay. Oh. And then... There we go. Now that should be more reliable than having Windows XP on. In fact, let's actually just... Oh, it closed. That works too, I guess. I'm gonna turn this down a little bit. Okay. Anyway. Doing things live. Okay. So what I need to figure out, so what's supposed to happen is the tab selected here is the home tab. This goes through. So the tab is that. So yeah, now the selected tab is the home tab. And now I'm trying to go through all the tabs and make sure that only that one is selected and the others aren't. So I think that part's working fine. Why did it come back to it twice? I don't think any of this up here is the issue. I think it is coming down here. So here I'm trying to set the index to be the index of home, which should be 0. So here, the selected index is being set, and that will call this code here. Right now, selected index is set to... What is it set to? Can it tell me? No. Okay, here this will tell me. The old value is -1. The new value is 0. Okay. So now we're getting to this where it's actually changing the selected index. Okay, no, why am I deselecting all time? Okay, let me think about this. I'm gonna take off these headphones. I actually don't need them right now. Then let me know if the music is too loud. Okay. So this part is the issue, I think. So what am I trying to accomplish here? So this part runs if the user changes the selected tab by changing the index rather than using the select code, which can be done, and is one of the ways it will happen. What I need to do, so if the selected index is -1, yeah, I think this part is backwards. Then we need to deselect all tabs. If it isn't, okay. So I think with all that work and brain power being used, I came back to the same conclusion that I was at earlier. Nothing should be selected. Make sure the selection in new value is within the valid number of indices. Else, okay. Otherwise, here, select the specific tab that has this index. Okay, so I think that was my issue. So I think now if I run this, it is a rainy day today. It's been raining pretty much non-stop since this morning. I actually quite like this. This rain is nice. I'm going to delete that. Yaha! Alright, that figured it out. I do not know why it even worked at all before, to be honest. It shouldn't have even worked before, but now it is working more reliably. Alright, so that problem has been fixed. Yay. That's excellent. Oh. Fix internal variable name. Whoops. Oh, in fact. Oh boy. Again, need to make sure that I copy over all changes from the core version back to the framework folder. Okay. All it was a little typo. Okay. Alright. So now that we have that part figured out, that's the biggest element that actually needed fixed. So now I'm going to take a moment to think about what I need to do next. One thing that I would like to do is I'd like to cut off this blank space over here so the button only kind of comes to an end right there, rather than going all the way over. The reason being is because this button goes all the way over to the side. And so all the other buttons also fill in to match that. Which is not my favorite thing. Can you even really see this very well? I guess that's a question. Here. No, I'm not gonna do anything. I should not try to mess with stuff midstream. Boy. One big thing that I can mention is I am thinking about how I'm rearranging my stream layout here, rather than having all of these like text and stuff at the bottom and stuff on the sides. I'm wondering if I can find a different layout where I can make the actual screen part larger without compromising the amount of text I can put down in other areas. But I think about this large title section here and this subtitle section here. I don't know if I need both of these. It is kind of fun to have both of them because I can kind of write little silly things in the subtitle. But maybe there's a different way. Maybe there's a way to... I might want to pull out this scrolling text at the bottom, and I need to move this section somewhere. I want to still show the chat area. Maybe I'll still have it over here, but maybe I'll move it elsewhere. I don't know. I'm thinking of some thoughts about how I want to do this so I can maximize the amount of this space. And still have my little stinky face in the corner, while still having all the info I need. I'm also going to replace this bokeh background that I have going on right now. I like it a lot. It's actually pretty cool. But it is going to be... I might still use it at some places and sometimes. But I also has some new backgrounds that I'm also working on, putting in there in its place instead. In fact, that is why my stream had to start late today, was because I was rendering a new background, and the renderer took too long. Because, well, it was my own fault. I also had Minecraft running. And the renderer really slows down when it's a video game. So that's my fault. Anyway, all of that aside. So, yeah, I talked about this part, but what I think I need to actually do next is add on support for more controls to go into the ribbon. Because if you look at an actual ribbon control, and I will use... I'd used Excel in the past as a reference, so I guess I'll do that again. If you look at an actual ribbon, there's more than just buttons and menus on here. Like, yes, there is a lot, definitely a lot of buttons and menus. But you'll also find there is this drop-down combo box. There's more drop-down combo boxes. You'll find... Okay, this is a bad example. Text. This is also a bad example. Where is a table in here? Did I even ever make a table? Oh, here's a table. You also just find plain old text boxes. You have these things which are called galleries. And so I need to work on implementing all of these things. There's checkboxes. Checkboxes will be relatively easy to implement. So maybe that could be the next thing I work on, checkbox. But I also need to think about how I'm going to add on these other elements too, such as text boxes, such as galleries, such as combo boxes. So yeah. So I think that actually needs to be my focus right now, is on getting some of those going. So as a part of that, I know I had created what is called the Ribbon Custom Control, which is going to be used as a basis for everything else that I build on top of it. But before I get started with that, I'm actually going to create a ribbon checkbox. Ribbon checkbox. Okay. Check. See. Okay. And so how did I... Oh, I know why. I know how. Okay. Less of this part and more of this part. Okay. This is actually the first time, I mean, I've done coding in between, but this is actually the first time I've touched this thing in specific in quite some time. Oh, I might need a little bit, a few moments here and there to get back into flow of things. So here we have the ribbon, here we have the ribbon group. So in the past, I know I've talked about this file. It is called the generic.xaml, XAML file. And what this file does is this contains actually all the visual information. So all of this stuff that is over here, close these, all of this stuff, things like that, this is all just logic. This is the actual logic of changing actual values and numbers and things behind the scenes. This is what actually controls what you actually see on the screen itself. And I know I've explained that a little bit in the past, but just to roll over again. And the annoying thing about this is, ideally, I would actually like to split this up so that all of these ribbon things are actually in their own file, and then maybe some of this other stuff is pulled into their own file too. But I could not figure out a way yet to let all of this be in their own individual files without causing some other problems or making something else happen or whatever. So right now I'm stuck with everything in this one just honking giant file. We come down here, it's like 2,700 lines of code. And I personally do not ideally want that, but that is kind of where we're at. Okay. This is actually going to be replaced with just a text block. Type text block style. In theory, that should be what is needed, but given what everything else is that is here, I'm gonna assume that it isn't. Why? Oh, because I didn't close that. Okay. Okay. The last thing I'm actually gonna do is I'm gonna select this whole thing, find in the selection, find flat. Oh, hello. I am going to put this into do not disturb mode at the moment, just to make sure that yeah, just to make sure that stuff doesn't come through that shouldn't. Alright. Flat checkbox. Replace with ribbon check box. And within the selection, please. Not the whole document. Boop. Okay. That being said, I will need to change this section back to flat checkbox. Okay. So hopefully that should be the checkbox done. We'll see. We'll see in a moment. Okay. So ideally what I should see happening, if I change the select, oops, that's one thing. If I change the selected index to 1, and then I'll add on a new ribbon group. I'll make this small, about 2 small boys. I don't know. Ribbon checkbox titled Check Me. Why is it upset? Oh, okay. Alrighty. In here, we're gonna actually replace this ribbon button with ribbon checkbox. The current document. Okay. Alright. So then hopefully now we'll see. I think that worked? Question mark? We'll see. Let's open this. Okay. There we go. This probably isn't perfect. I might need to mess with the padding default values a little bit. But it is definitely closer to there. Okay. So that is now one more thing that we've added onto the ribbon now. So now we have buttons, we have menus, and we have checkboxes, which already covers most of what you'll see in, say, Excel. We got checkboxes, we got buttons, and we have menus. The final things is getting combo boxes, text boxes, and galleries. There's going to be more than that actually needs to be supported, but at least to get started, if you're going to have any sort of ribbon, those are the items that you're definitely going to need. But at least now that is one more thing that is off of the bat there. Okay. I'm also going to remove this section. Why does it not like the... There we go. Add ribbon checkbox. Might need to do some work later on adjusting margins and other things, but this is another control that should now be ready to go. I know I have a physical document somewhere, like an actual piece of paper, where I wrote out the actual like size requirements for each of my individual things. I'll definitely need to find that to make sure that things are still in line with that. I'm pretty sure that the small things are exactly 24 inches, 24 pixels in height. I think that's what I've designed. Everything around is still that 24. Yeah, 24. Other control. Pretty much all sets up. Okay. This was a pretty low hang. This is a pretty easy addition. Do the checkbox existing and just reusing the code I had for the okay. Anyway, that's fine. There's some other stuff that I'll have to change later, but at least for the purposes of just getting the thing on the ribbon and getting it to work, it's there. Scrabble, my dog. Oh my gosh. Okay. I think I will work on one other smaller thing, and then maybe we'll move on to doing a little bit of something else. Who knows? Okay. I think ideally what I might like to do is maybe work on ribbon text box. Yeah. So, why do I have a ribbon custom control 4? Okay. Anyway, that's fine. Well, obviously it's so I can put in any control that I want. Another major thing I'm gonna have to make sure I do before I actually release this later on this year. I know I've talked a little bit about it in previous streams, and I don't have a good example. I probably do have it here somewhere. So this little section of code here, quote unquote code, is actually descriptive text that actually describes, say, this is what a ribbon is. It is a toolbar that displays various commands under a series of tabs, similar to what is present in Microsoft Office or Autodesk software. And then there is sections down here that talk about, actually I've not written, okay, some down here, what the currently selected tab is. This is some other stuff. All of these things I still have to actually set up. Show only tabs, for example, currently does nothing. That'll be another day. Thing for another day. Also, this currently does nothing. But anyway, what I was trying to get at though is that before I actually release this thing, I'll have to make sure I go through and add on these descriptive stuff to the rest of all of these things that I'm adding. Because this not only helps me in the future when I'm looking at my own code and being like, what does this mean again? Oh, that's what this means. But it also helps other developers if they're using my code to be like, what does this mean? And it also helps me to write documentation online to be like, what is this? Because if you go on to the website, where I have my code for this thing stored, and we'll also see, for example, this little bit. And here it'll actually tell you, this is the evaluate thing, this is the valid string, and this gives you the text that I have written in here. So if I were to look up arithmetic parser, evaluate, it has the same thing here. And in fact, if I go down to where it actually has evaluate, so it will have public static double evaluate, public static double evaluate, and then the summary section, evaluate an arithmetic expression, evaluate an arithmetic expression, things like that. So all this stuff in here gets pulled into this so that anyone who is going through looking at my thing online and being like, should I use this or not? What does this even do? This whole section here lists every single thing that I have and what it can do and all the features in it, things like that. But yeah, and then on top of that, I also have other articles that I've written. I'm going to need to work on more articles to come on later. But I have articles that I've written that talks about how to use certain controls and things like that. But yeah. Anyway. Boop. Okay. So, getting back to the ribbon here. So now for the ribbon custom control, what the idea is that I will have the label on the left and whatever stuff on the right, and you can set what the stuff is. So I will need to actually add on a... Is there a thing that's already a boolean here? Alright. I'm actually gonna set this to good. So, I know my plan in the past, and I'll probably try to stick to that plan, is to actually use this as a basis for me creating the combo box and the text box. The gallery is going to be its whole own monster of things to do. At least with this, I can get started with this part. So as a part of that, what I'm going to have to do is come back into here. And we're going to have I don't know if I want to, you know what, I might actually do. Actually, I'm gonna copy this section over again. But then what I'm gonna do is we're gonna have this little auto. Okay. Zero, 1, 2, 3, 4. And this is actually going to be for ribbon custom control, ribbon custom control. I have to think more about that later, and I'm actually going to have to also remove all of these. Okay, so now that we've stripped out a lot of things, what we have sitting here is a text, excuse me, is going to be what will become the visual things for the oops, did I just type in random ones? I did. Ribbon custom control. So when you actually render it onto the screen, this is what you're going to see. Line converter, edit resource. What's this? Nope. How do I use converters in the past? Static resource color converter. Yeah, what the heck? Is converter. That's what this should be. I'm going to assume that I've put this in the wrong spot. Binding, path, show title, converter. No, this has a converter. What is the issue here? Ah, boy. Why can't it find it? What the heck? Maybe that's why. Okay. Well, did I select the right thing? I don't understand. But anyway. Okay. Well, anyway, that's fine, I guess. As long as it works. That's what matters. Okay. Fallback value. Yeah. Beer won't have a fallback value. Whatever. Anyway. So, that is mostly that. Hello. Text block. This is the content presenter part, and this is where it actually gets to set the content. Why? Does this have to connect to the content presenter in some way or form? Where is the content presenter handled? Okay. This list, oh, this has to because control lists the background. Brush background. Okay, anyway. Sorry, I'm just kind of caught in trying to get this sorted out. What am I? Okay, so I have the title. Okay, so the last thing I actually need is to set up the small button. Small icon. I'll need to set up more than that. But at least for now, that. I'm gonna have to come back here and think more later about that. So with the ribbon custom control, if it's in small size mode, that means that everything's going to be just on a single little line across like that, which should be what it is by default. But if it's set to be a large size mode, that means a large icon will be present, but it's probably, I might not even use the large icon at all, ever, even though it is set here. Does iRibbon item not have? Yeah, it has large icon in here in iToolbar item. But for ribbon custom control, what I think I'm gonna do is actually set this to not use a large icon. Because where will I ever use the large icon at all? So what I might end up actually doing is hiding it entirely. I have to think about this. I'm gonna have to think about what I want to do with this control. So I think this is gonna take more thought than I originally thought would go into it. So what I'm trying to figure out is I'm trying to get this set up, and this is going to be implemented using the Ribbon custom control thing with the ability to set a title to the left and an icon to the left. But one of these large icons over here doesn't make sense because it won't fit in this little area. It'll have to be a small one, and I'm wondering if with how things are set up, if there's ever a way where I'll be able to set it up with a large icon. And I think the answer to that, excuse me, is no. What is this? I don't know what that is. Hello. Okay. Weird. Anyway, I'm actually gonna have to go back and think about how I want to design this though. So I'm not gonna make any changes here quite yet, because I can always make a change with this later and then come back and I can always undo the change later, but I'd rather keep things as they are now before I make some form of decision. So actually I'm gonna set all of this aside for right now. Let me think about if there's a way for me. So I know I have a wrap panel here. That is what the thing is that allows the thinking about this. I'm wondering what I can do about this part here, the part that I mentioned earlier about wanting to make these narrower to fit the size of the actual thing itself and not the full width. Because that is right now, the full width is taken up because this is so wide. Goodness. Is it because it doesn't actually... Okay. I think that's what I was missing. Okay. Well, see, I had it set up so you can see the song playing in the corner where it actually popped up, but now that it's not showing anymore. But I think I figured out why. Anyway, so let's see what I can do about this part. I'll Let's spend a few minutes on this and then we'll move on to something else. How about that? Okay. The element, the item with a wrap panel. That's true. Aha, it disappeared. Yay! Now you can actually see the songs again. Okay. Alright. Items control. So I do not need a list of things. No. Item template. Okay. Is a... What am I gonna wrap it around? A border, I guess? Alright, it's just gonna be binding. Okay. Okay. Let's see what that does. I might have just majorly messed things up, or I might have fixed it. Who knows? We'll see. Nothing changed. That's the actual answer. Why did nothing change? Item template, item template. What is this? This is a ribbon group. Why is it talking about things being ignored? Next. Is it gonna say ribbon? It is. Okay. So that means for some reason, this part is being ignored. For items already of the item controls, container type ribbon button. Oh. Is there a way for it to... not ignore? Ignored for items already of... Okay. So that means I'll have to come at this from a different angle, because I don't want to sit here and okay. All right. Okay. I figured it out. What I need to do. Okay. Oh boy. Okay. Alright, last thing is public override. No, private override. No. Okay. Protected override? Is item its own. Okay. Let's see what this does. Yeah. So to make so I can figure out if I can see if this does anything, I'm going to re-render that first. Okay. And then I'm gonna come down to this and replace this with ribbon utils, ribbon group item. Okay. So now let's see what happens. All right. Yeah, that got it already. Excellent. Just clicking weirdly? I think it was just clicking weirdly. Okay. Yeah. That's why I was activating that. Okay. So alright, now these actually only take up the amount of space they actually need rather than taking up the full amount of space. And it was a pretty simple fix which also gives me access to if I need to ever change anything else, but I don't think I'm going to. Cool. So that being done, let's submit the things that I have, upload them, and then we'll think about doing something else for at least a little bit. Playing some game while I get to just ramble on about some stuff. So let me work on uploading this right now. Create derived items control to use in Ribbon group. Edit and items control. Narrower buttons didn't take the full width of a column. And that's needed. Okay. Ideally with only this one small little change, everything else should continue to act as normal, but over time there's any knock on effects I need to be wary of. Boop. Okay. Start work on ribbon custom control template. I'll need to come back and spend some time thinking about how I want the ribbon custom control to render, and if I want to allow large icon to how it'll differ between the various element sizes. Large, small, icon only. There's a fourth one. What's the fourth one? Fourth one's only relevant to galleries, I think. What is it? Oh, large, small, icon only, that's it. Okay. Okay. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to actually push everything I got. So now it's actually all fully uploaded, which means now if you go onto the website, this is where all the code is stored, and where you can actually find it, download it for yourself, mess with it, do whatever you want with it as well, within the limitations of the license, which is actually pretty forgiving. It allows most everything. But on here you can find the code here, including what I just uploaded. Alright. So I'll actually have to go back and fix a thing with the main branch, but I'll do that later. But for now, we will work on doing a little bit of something gaming related. But why is this here? What is this? Okay. What is that? I don't know. But for now, I'm gonna take a short little break though before I get into that, just so I can just spend some time on less on getting things set up and more on
He said he loved her more than words. So instead of words, he gave her flowers.
doing other stuff. I don't know.
She drew him pictures and
Anyway,
he said it was tacky and almost broke.
so yes, I will take a short little break, and I will be right back.
She loves him so much it's absurd. He thinks it's cute that her singing is the worst he's ever heard.